5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh from the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. I got the globe spinning. I'm so excited. Okay, chatbots. 46% of millennials would like chatbots to answer simple questions, but as we all know, there are rarely simple questions. Ask any good philosopher. Ask Socrates. Anyway, but that aside, buyers still are twice as likely to stay on chatting with a live human. In fact, I usually ask questions that chatbots are confused by, with double meanings, etc. It's not that hard to do, and that will get you to a live person more times than not, or you give up and go buy somewhere else. Okay, and on that note, the World Wide Web is becoming less worldwide. Yes, it is. Kazakhstan just passed a law that says that your IP has to give you a certificate that shows that your internet is allowed by the government, and then the government can spy on everything you browse on, even HTTPS. Okay? And they're not alone. They're claiming that they want to protect their citizens from spammers and hackers. Fake news, I suppose, right? Shouldn't we be worried about fake news? It just depends on if the cure is worse than the disease. Some of us can sort out fake news, just like we can sort out chatbots. Anyway, so Kazakhstan did this before in 2015, but there were lots of lawsuits and foreign governments objected, and now the government can monitor anything. They aren't necessarily blocking it, but they can monitor everything that happens. And it's probably coming to a neighborhood near you. I don't know. It just shows you there's lots of technology. 22 other governments across Africa have purposely disrupted internet access for political purposes in just the last 5 years, and China has used a firewall to block certain sites for years. That's on one end of the spectrum. On the other end, who's protecting your data? A report of 25,000 domains analyzed said that basically none of them are implementing global DMARC adoption. Okay? And with DMARC, the odds of your domain being spoofed and used as a phishing attack, this is what happens. What happens is somebody sends an email out and says, your account may have been compromised on LinkedIn, let's say, because that was a data breach. And then all of a sudden, the data breach, the link, if you're not careful, takes you to a site not associated with LinkedIn, but looks just like LinkedIn. And so this is a technology that largely prevents that. I would say check with your internet host and see what they're doing to implement DMARC kind of protection. There may be other options that your internet hosting is doing. 90% of all cyber attacks begin with phishing mail. Remember the DNC? And so we don't really know how that happened. We know somebody got some phishing attacks. So anyway, this company will help you out. It's 25OK is the name of the company, apparently. On that note, moving right along, Equifax gets hit with a fine of $700 million for 2017 data breach. And I've checked mine somewhat surreptitiously. What you won't find out, hackers stole credit files on 147 million Americans, right? 147 Americans, plus some British and Canadian nationals, including social security numbers. Okay? And usually it takes a couple of years for that stuff to work its way out of the dark web. For example, LinkedIn was hacked about 5 years ago, and it took about 3 years for me to start seeing fraudulent claims that they have all of my information and all that stuff. But in this case, they might. Now, Equifax, what you don't know is Equifax offers, and is still advertising as of last month, within the last month I know, is advertising a service where you can check and see what the status of your of your data is, whether you've been hacked or not. And the interesting thing is that they'll do it for free, but my hosting company told me on a conference call that or a customer support call, that Equifax in their shareholders call announced expected revenues, windfall revenues, because they said what we're going to do is we're going to offer the first check free, then we're going to, as part of that free check, you're going to our people who call in are going to sign off from any liability they hold us to, and the second one, we offer them a service to continue on the when they sign in, and those will generate revenue. So they're going to make more money than they'd been making, and they're going to waive their liability, cut their contingent liabilities, and that's how they leveraged the data breach. And so the $700 million may be just a drop in the bucket compared to the revenues they generated from the 147 proportion of those that want to go in and check that thing. Wow. They blamed it on a single employee. And the House Oversight Committee said it was entirely preventable. But Equifax made money on the deal, which just shows you what a little creativity can do. And in honor of the moon landing, let's go over here and have a look at one of the great commercials from that episode. Americans landed on the moon, which definitely happened. But if it didn't, you could totally pull it off with Shutterstock. I love this. And it would be way more out of this world. How great is that? You know, it makes fun of us all and also advertises their capability. Okay, so I love that. And it looks like we're out of time, as usual. But I just wanted to say, there's a lot you can do when temperatures rise. My favorite game for teaching capitalism, Lemonade Stand, gives you the forecasted weather, and you can up and down. Blockbuster Video in their heyday said weather was the #1 factor. And we've used it obviously for gardening and outdoor related baseball products. We've also used the flip side of it and used it for alternative hobbies. Hunting is affected by it. Fishing is affected by it. Lots of offers are affected by it. Keep that in mind, even though it was only 70. It was in the 60s last night here in Wisconsin. But if you're in a hot part of the country, think about fall. Start thinking about temperature change. Temperature change can be one of the most powerful triggers of marketing. I'm John Miglosh. Like and share. Share shows you care.